Hi, my name is Emma Angel, and today I will be reviewing Insidious for The Last Key. I got the keys, I got the keys. Brrrah. This iteration of Insidious was directed by Adam Robitel, who has a history with horror movies, including writing for Paranormal Activity. And one of the writers, Leigh Whannell, is actually one of the stars of the movie. He plays Specs. He is also the director for the last Insidious, and he has done a lot of producing, directing, acting, all in the horror movie world. He really is a horror kid, clearly. And I was actually really surprised to know that he was one of the main actors in the movie Saw. Okay, so Insidious. Let me just say, I like this franchise. Let me just say I liked this franchise, actually. I really liked the first one. It was new and creative and interesting, scary. It was directed by James Wan, and that is one of my favorite horror movie directors. I don't know how much he has to do with cinematography, but definitely the way the stories are told visually are so different when James Wan is behind the scenes. I think he was an executive producer or a producer for this movie, but his touch was missing. So yeah, the first one was really good. The second one kind of kept that momentum going. I don't remember it as vividly, and it was good. I remember enjoying it. The third one was memorable, but not for the right reasons. I just remember shaking my head a lot like, no. They winged it. It wasn't carefully written, carefully directed, carefully thought out, plotted, and meticulously put together. It really just feels like, oh, we got a budget. The name of the movie already carries weight, so we don't have to invest that much in it, and people will still flock to the movies or buy it or rent it or whatever. I really wanted to love it, because I really like the intrigue and the story behind it, and I like their little Phoebe witch woman, but really did not work for me at all. It had a lot of horror movie tropes in it, and it was predictable, and anyways, I'm not here to review the third one, I'm here to review the fourth one. The fourth one is a step up compared to the third Insidious, but a step down if you're going to compare it to Insidious 1 and 2. As long as you don't take the movie seriously and you stay a level above it, you just don't sink into it and try to reason, you will enjoy this movie. After a certain point, maybe 10-15 minutes into the movie, I was just like, okay, so none of this is just gonna make sense. What is happening? This is nonsense. Why is this happening this way? This script really feels like A was written because B has to be written so that C can happen. So linear in storytelling and missing credibility, just silliness. However, for a horror movie, it did not rely solely on jump scares. They are going for the creepy monster horror movie genre, and it kind of fails. Well, I mean, okay, I should admit that I'm not a fan of monster horror movies. I've mentioned in the review for Veronica that I prefer a movie that leaves more to the imagination than it shows. And if it's gonna show something, let it be brief and let it be really disturbing. And this movie kind of gives you a monster and you kind of get to know it enough so that it becomes ridiculous, in my opinion. Especially the way it is addressed in the end, like the final scene with it. So ridiculous, it made me laugh. The movie takes place in Five Keys, New Mexico. Yes, Five Keys, the last key. You're gonna guess it. The obvious thing would be for the key to have something to do with all the paranormal things that are happening in this house. I feel like the concept of the key was really underused and poorly integrated. It was kind of superfluous. It had no business, had no meaning, had no backstory. It was just there as a marketing prop. I don't know, a prop. Yeah, no, it wasn't baked in. Are there jump scares? Yes, there are. There aren't so many that it's saturated, but there are enough, I would say. There is a moment, I think if I say tunnel, you know what I'm talking about. I was lulled into complacency, reassured, enough so that it got to me. I eventually screamed when things popped off. Young Elise, aka Little Phoebe, played by Ava Kolker, was fantastic. She was very credible, she was warm, giving you what this character needed to give you, and acting her butt off, pulling at your heartstrings in the right way. She did a fantastic job. She really, I think, was the star of this movie. Unfortunately, we don't get enough of her. Lin Shaye, who plays grown Phoebe, she's good, as usual, but I can't stop laughing because every time I hear her voice, I think of Friends, and there's a scene where Joey Tribbiani acts out a horror movie trope. She's been dead for 10 years. And we all know what that old woman harbinger of death in movies sounds like. So when I hear her voice, the frailty of it, the age of it, the calm wobbliness, it always makes me think of Joey. Very early on in the movie, we see Papa Rainier, played by Josh Stewart, not John, is a scary father figure. Scary daddy, kind of cray. Actually, pretty cray. And I felt like the movie was going to be interesting, thought-provoking, that they would really play with who is scarier, the father or the monster, or is the monster just a metaphor for abusive, scary fathers, you know? It's funny, horror movies make you realize that what's really scary about monsters is ugliness. Like, that's what's scary. Ugly is scary. The comedy fell flat with me. Really flat. Like bad Blues Brothers comedy. Maybe a lot of people think Blues Brothers is hilarious. I think I watched it recently and I was just like, huh? What? Anyways. But here it's really like they are trying to be funny. It might work for some. Ovela thought it was funny. If you're a person who doesn't like people saying, hey, this is comedy. Hey, this is a joke. Hey, poke, 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 audience member, you should laugh at this because we set it up for you so obviously. Then you're going to be like, no. This is not funny. This is just sad. And I just couldn't tell if it was the actor's delivery or if it was the writing. Maybe it was a little bit of both, but mostly the writing. Here's an example of what I mean when I say that these kind of sequels get maybe limited budget or they really bank on the name to get you through the door and they don't invest in a movie. Cobwebs that look like dollar store cobwebs. I was like, what? Did they really just do that to us? What is this? They dusted off at some point and I really felt like, you're kidding me, right? Dollar store cotton? That's what you invested in? Those are your props? I think that was the tipping point where I decided, okay, you know what? This movie doesn't want me to take it seriously. I'm gonna just get out of it and have fun with the mess that it is. The movie is also kind of slow to start. You don't really get into the paranormal hunting activities that you want early on. So you have to be a little patient. I actually enjoyed the exposition in the beginning. I wanted more of that. So I didn't really mind. But I have to admit that overall the movie is clever. It's suspenseful. And it's fun. Like I said, if you do not take it seriously or want it to be what it's not, accept it for what it is and it will gift you. There's also a scene in the movie that refers, I think, back to Insidious 1. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the first one in so long. If you have it fresh in your memory, please let me know. All right, I want to get into the spoilers now and talk about certain things specifically. So I'm just going to say thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and take care.
The spoils.
Okay, let's talk about this in a little more depth, shall we? The monster. Like I said, scariest thing about it is that it's ugly. Keys for fingers? What is that about? It doesn't really make sense. And it like locks your voice. Who is this? Ursula's grandfather? The keys could have been incorporated in such a better way. Was it like to symbolize the keys to the chains on the girls in the dungeon? I don't understand, but still wasn't good enough. Or that the monster is a prison warden and that's why he's got a lot of keys. It just didn't work for me. Maybe it worked for you, but I thought it was just silly. And the way they kicked that monster into oblivion. Oh! It was hilarious. It just looked like stop motion. Lost all credibility there. It just looked like a flying squirrel with all that extra skin and long and all that. I don't know. It wasn't interesting to justify the father's behavior like he was a creep, he was angry and also a sexual deviant, all because he was possessed by the house monster. No, you could have gone a way more interesting route after World War II. We're in 1953, like post-war, PTSD, mental illness. I don't know, there were other ways to go. And I didn't agree with how they just kind of explained it away, and then the monster is what it is. And of course, Mama had to be the one to kick its butt. I knew that was coming. But that was also kind of weirdly treated, how she came in as an angel of light. And it's like, wait, are you stuck in the netherworld too? Or are you an angel? Are you gone? How did this monster manage to kill you, but it didn't kill anyone else? And it had to use men to kill women, but you had just like decided, you know what? I'm just gonna do this myself. Like, there are certain things that just don't... At first I was like, wait a minute, how come this house is the same? You know, when that dude called up Phoebe and he was like, come, the house is haunted. But then when you learn that, oh, it's the house monster that possessed him, fine, I'll go with it. When we were introduced to the little brother in the beginning, I was like, I bet we're gonna see him later on. Brother, where art thou? I'm looking for you. So I kept expecting him to show up. And when he does, I had no idea it was him. I was like, what? Ovela, so silly. He said that his hair had turned white from fear. The scene that I did appreciate was with the girl in the laundry room, and then she was real. I was like, ooh, clever. She thinks she's crazy. You know, she says that, baby. But here she didn't. She actually saw someone on the verge of death, though. And see that whole girl nurse being trapped and the father is possessed. Then he kind of gets creepy with his own daughter. I don't know. Too much. Whoosh. Like I said, the suitcases got me. Got me good. Oh, I was tense. And I was just like, oh, every time she would go boop with that flashlight, I would go boop with my face. It's probably going to come at the end. You know, it'll be the last one. Of course, they got you thinking that when she going to put it down, not when she opens it up. So props, they got me there. I think that was like the best horror scene in the movie. The way we're introduced to her nieces, also so poorly written in. You got one, what is she, Pollyanna ingenue, just all like, oh, hello, old woman talking to me in a bar for no reason. I'm so happy. And the other one is just like, I'm skeptical. I watch CNN. You're a stranger. I'm so happy to see someone new in this town for once. I'll talk to anybody. Please get me out of here. Read my eyes. And what really bothered me was when her sidekicks, Dumb and Dumber, I mean, that scene where she is in the Upside Down and she's like on the couch and they're acting like just total dweebs. When they were macking on her nieces. First of all, it's your employer's nieces, like family limits. Second of all, we never established how old they are and they were acting pretty young. So inappropriate, ew, ick. They were really imposing themselves on these girls in ways that made me really, really, really uncomfortable. It would have been better and more unexpected if the girls were the ones to hit on the guys. Like the guys were afraid of the girls or just respected them enough to be proper and appropriate around them, that it made the girls feel safe enough to flirt, you know, and then open that door themselves. They got the keys, not you, honey, not you. And like I said, at the end, we see the little boy from Insidious 1 in the attic, and she has that phone call at the end, and she knew it was coming, and just questions. I don't remember if that scene had anything to do with Insidious 1. I think I need to see that one again. But I have a hard time looking at Insidious 1 because of that creepy black and red Star Wars-y monster that appears in there. I just can't. It terrifies me to death. Like, really. I haven't seen a monster in a movie scare me as much. That and the nun from The Conjuring. Woo! Child. I can't. Will there be another Insidious 5? They said the last key, so I imagine they mean the last iteration, but who knows? And they kind of looped it, right? Because when we get to the point where she's taking that phone call, now we're at Insidious 1. So I think it's over. The 5th one should have been the last key because it's in 5 Keys, New Mexico. 5th sequel, it would have made more sense. Unless this is the 5th one and I missed one. Anyways, you'll let me know. I know you will. It's your turn to talk. What did you think of Insidious, The Last Key? Comment section below, you know what to do. Before you go, like this video, subscribe to Music Game News, and turn on that notification bell if you haven't already. I appreciate you watching. I hope you have a spooktacular day. I'm M Angel, signing off. See ya, pals.